Hi, I'm Jake,
And I'm Craig.
and you're watching Media Crush. In today's episode, we're going to go over some of our favorite horror movies.
Growing up, my favorite movies have always been horror movies. For as long as I can remember, I remember my parents always putting on a horror movie, even when it wasn't Halloween. And some of the movies I watched were The Cellar, Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween,
Oh, that's a good one.
which is still one of my favorite horror movies today. I watch it every Halloween. It's got a great score, great director. The atmosphere is beautiful.
What do you think of the Rob Zombie?
I thought it was crap.
Yeah. I thought so too.
But I really love classic horror movies. Mainly the ones from the 70s and 80s, but I do love the black and white movies. Some of my favorites, one of the oldest, Nosferatu. It was made in 1922. Well, it was released in 1922. It's a silent film, black and white. It was based off Bram Stoker's Dracula, but they couldn't get the rights to the name Dracula, so they used Nosferatu, which I believe that's Italian for vampire or something like that, or Night Stalker or something like that. I have this, which is one of my favorite things. It's the 50 horror movie classics. It has House on Haunted Hill, one of my favorites.
Which has Vincent Price in it.
Yeah, Vincent Price. It's got Last Man on Earth, which is based off the I Am Legend story, and it's probably one of the most true to the book, adaptation, and that also has Vincent Price. Nosferatu's also on here. What else? Night of the Living Dead's on here. So basically, a bunch of B horror movies. Like you won't find any of the Universal iconic horror movie monsters like Frankenstein, Dracula, things like that. Wolfman.
You said those are in their own collection, right?
Yeah, they have their own collection. I'm going to be focusing on Night of the Living Dead, which is also one of the classic movies I have to watch every year. It's basically about zombies. It was probably one of the first movies to feature today's version of the zombie, like the slow shuffling, eat your body part kind of zombie.
Well, nowadays they developed into like faster moving.
Yeah, like running and screaming.
Yeah.
I call those the rage zombies because they were first seen in what was the movie, 28 Days Later, and then Dawn of the Dead was remade, which had running zombies.
That's a Zack Snyder one, right?
Yeah. But this one goes down in history for a couple reasons. One, it was George Romero's first zombie movie, but he never got the rights to it, and it's still a public domain movie. So I could post this whole movie online, not get in trouble for doing it. A public domain means that nobody owns it. It's owned by everybody. And this movie is public domain. It was released October 1st, 1968. It was one of the first movies to have a African-American lead protagonist, which was the basis of a controversy then. It also shows nudity, back nudity.
And didn't it like freak people out?
Oh yeah,
Like in the theater.
people were walking out. They had a scene in the movie where the zombies are starting to eat flesh, which was it was an after post. They got done filming the movie. We're about to release it. It was seen by the censors, so they said, "Okay, release your movie." And then they added the whole eating body parts thing without anybody knowing about it. Then it got to theaters, and families were bringing their kids to the movie. It's like a family fun horror movie, and they said kids were throwing up and stuff, and people were walking out of the movie.
That's funny.
One of the best lines in the movie that I quote all the time is "They're coming to get you, Barbara."
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It's yeah, that's pretty much it. It also has like things that we think of today with zombies, like the graves and stuff. Because the first zombie shown in the movie was in a cemetery.
Mm.
Uh, it wasn't until the 1985 Return of the Living Dead, which is loosely based off the movie, um, that they had like the brains thing. You
And
know, or
that was done by George Romero too, right?
no, that was I don't know who did it, but it wasn't George A. Romero. It was like a fan of his movies who did the movie.
I know he's done a lot of those series.
He's done anything, anything of the dead, like Diary of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Those are all his movies. But Return of the Living Dead was something else, somebody else. So yeah, I highly recommend this movie. It's shot in black and white, which I believe. Yeah, there were color movies at the time, but he wanted to shoot it in black and white to get that sense of atmosphere and stuff like that.
Mm.
So yeah, great movie.
Cool.
I'll definitely check it out. I'm sure you already have. Oh, and this certain DVD came with a T-shirt. I should have worn it, but I didn't.
So my picks for this genre are more contemporary than Craig's are. Some of my favorites are Ex Machina, which is the most recent on my list. Zombieland with Woody Harrelson, which is kind of a like a horror comedy. Kind of looks at the zombie genre in like a satirical way. And then there's Fright Night, the remake with Colin Farrell and Anton Yelchin, which I thought was a really funny representation of this vampire genre. And then I have my favorite series is the Saw series, which contains 7 movies, which I know was considered to be all torture stuff, but it's not. It's like tells the story of Jigsaw, which is a serial killer. And what's cool about the series is that you get each film in the franchise has like a different backstory. Like you get more and more of the Jigsaw backstory, so you know how he works and why he does what he does. But the main one I'm going to talk about. Oh, and I love the classic Poltergeist, which was directed by Tom Hooper?
I don't know. I know Steven Spielberg had a hand in it, right?
Yeah. It just really had really cool practical effects, and the woman that played the medium was awesome in that one.
They're here.
Yeah. But the main one I'm going to talk about is the most recent one on my list that I talked about. It's Ex Machina, starring Oscar Isaac, Domhnall Gleeson, which, if you aren't aware, is Brendan Gleeson's son. He actually was in Harry Potter as Bill Weasley, Ron Weasley's brother. I think that was his first film. It's about this computer programmer that is like a loner and gets entered into this contest and wins the contest to go to this guy's estate, Oscar Isaac's estate, and take part in this legendary experiment. And when he gets there, he what he does is that he has to do like what's called a Turing test, which on this female AI.
Which that's what Oscar Isaac's character is known for, is creating AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did he know that he created AI prior to going to his estate, or did he find out afterwards?
think he knew.
Did he?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he knew
to
he
what
was,
extent.
Yeah, he knew he was developing it, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't know how advanced it was.
Yeah. What he's sent there to do is that do this Turing test, which is to see if a machine can actually have human characteristics, human feelings like love, hate,
So
boredom, stuff like that.
Basically, he's there to see if he can tell the difference between an AI and a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through the course of the film, he starts to realize who's really getting tested throughout the movie. What I liked most about this film is that it's like a modern day take on Frankenstein, which is one of the reasons I picked it for this Halloween episode. And Oscar Isaac is awesome in this movie. He plays the inventor, which in every movie he does, he has like, especially in this movie, he has like this chilling factor, but it's almost like this endearing quality at the same time. Like, you don't want to get on his bad side, but you want to listen to him every time he's on screen. Like, he has this really awesome screen presence.
One of the most awkward and creepy parts I felt was towards the end. They do like a toast with like an old vintage like vodka or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably not. I don't remember what. Might have been whiskey, but and the whole movie, Oscar Isaac, he's constantly drinking and passing out all the time, and so the main protagonist, tries to. I don't want to give much away, but he tries to drug him, like make him pass out. But then at that moment, he doesn't drink. He goes, "Oh no, thank you, I'm not drinking anymore." Right at that point, and it doesn't sound creepy, but the way he plays it and the way he does it, it's just like real unsettling.
Yeah. So if you're really into like Kubrick-esque horror movies or just movies like Frankenstein, what's really cool about this one is that it's actually distributed by Universal Pictures, who did the first, who's known for their horror movies like Frankenstein and Dracula and stuff like that. So if you're really into that kind of stuff, this is one you have to check out.
Now it's part of the show where we give you a Netflix pick.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's going to be Innkeepers by Ty West, which is I wouldn't say he's a newer director, but he's newer for me. I started watching Netflix a lot, and last year around this time they added all of Ty West's movies, which are really cool, like indie low budget horror movies with a big budget feel. Innkeepers follows these two innkeepers who work at a haunted inn, and that's kind of like their draw, and they get customers because of that. But they never really caught anything on camera. The one guy, he's always trying to like catch something on camera so that he could post it on his website. It's not till the girl gets involved that they start invoking some really creepy stuff. So go ahead and check that out.
My pick is a movie that was based on a Joe Hill novel. It's called Horns, and it's from the director of Hills Have Eyes, Alexander Aja. It stars Daniel Radcliffe. It's about a guy named Ignatius Martin Parrish who gets drunk one night and does some very bad things, and then the next morning he wakes up with a terrible hangover and realizes that he has a pair of horns sprouting out of his head. And the whole movie kind of switches back from horror to comedy to drama. So it's kind of like a horror drama comedy.
Or dramedy.
Yeah. What happens is that the whole time, his girlfriend gets murdered, and the whole town thinks he did it. So,
There's just like no way to prove it. So he's just like going around town and everyone's hating on him.
So he actually uses the abilities he's gained through this to
And abilities being
um, like to influence people. Basically, what the devil did in the Bible, or
like he tempts
what the
you.
devil does, yeah.
Tempts you to do your darkest
Yeah.
desires.
Or here's your darkest desires, or can tempt you and.
Yeah. I think I'll have another donut. What do you think, Iggy?
Yeah.
Could I have another donut?
Yeah.
That's from the audiobook.
So check that one out. It's really awesome.
That has been your Media Crush, and thanks for watching.
And be sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't already.
Thanks.
Come on, why is Craig always late to these things? We really have to get going here. Oh no! Ah! Ah!